Yeah, what a great question. All right. It's a great question. It's very, very easy to answer the question. People think it's complicated, but it's not. The question is, how do you know if what you've got is good or bad if you don't have much experience of other things? Right. The first example, sorry, that you gave was of children with parents. How do you know your parents are good parents? Well, in that situation, number one, you don't, you can't, and you never know. Because all children normalize everything as normal. So whatever your parents are, that's normal. Now, you can look at your friends' parents. You can see examples in, I don't know, media, on TV. Um, the problems of comparison are that we very often compare the wrong things. We compare results rather than progress. We compare destinations rather than journeys. So when we compare, it was very often not very practical the way that we do it. Um, Comparison is usually only good when you want to try something which appears to be better. And in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So I said with children you never know. But there are some things called universal laws. Not all laws are made by people. Now, in religions, they will tell you these laws are made by God. Okay? I prefer to say that these laws are made by the universe because it's easier for me to understand because I can see the universe. And I have no idea who or what created it. But I know that it's there. So there are some things called universal laws. These are the laws of how the world not constructed by man or woman works. Now, the basic problem with how do you know if something else is going to be better or not is a problem of human needs, human satisfaction, humans wanting to improve things, and humans making mistakes. It's a giant goulash stew cauldron of all of these things mixed together. Let's take some basic examples. Let's say I put a bottle of absinthe on the table and say, hey, let's drink. Good idea or bad idea? Yeah. It's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea because I haven't drunk any alcohol in 10 months. And one glass of that liquid. Yeah. So there we go. So we know that we don't need to go there because we know what's there, right? So we don't need to have the experience to know that the experience will be bad. let's say that there's a girl who likes guys, and another girl says to her, "Hey, we should try something, us girls, together. You know, you never know until you try." You sort of don't. If you know what you like, you don't need to go there. You don't need to go there at all, because there's a voice inside your mind that knows who you are, that you need to listen to. You know, no amount of conversation will turn a rock into a tree, or turn a tree into a flower. Right? They will grow as they are into their own entities, into whatever it is they need to be. So we don't need to experience something in order to define whether or not it is good or bad. We can make that decision without having the experience. Now, there's a problem with that explanation. The problem is that, how do you know it's not good to drink the absinthe? Well, I've tried it before, or I've seen people try it before, or I know what happens to people who do things like that. And so we also know that we have our own personal history, our own personal experiences. We learn from our own experience. We learn from observing others as well. So there's a little bit of that in what we do. You don't put your hand in the fire, because you know the fire is hot and you'll get burned. How do we learn that? Well, probably by putting our hand in the fire. A little bit. Many things that we do in life are experiments. Experimentation is part of human nature. Another word for experimentation is play. Playing games, trying different things. So there's nothing wrong with trying different things. But we also need to understand that it is possible to know something without trying something. Yeah, how many people tried to fly in the past and fell out of the sky, or fell out of trees, or fell off of buildings and killed themselves? It was nice that they were inventive, creative, and wanted to do new things, but they really didn't have to go that far. I believe there's a voice inside our heads based on our experiences that's part of ourselves, part of ourself, and knows who we are, and we need to listen to that. I don't think you need to get things wrong before you get them right. And the reason why I think that is because one of the most worldly people I ever met, somebody who seemed to have a good answer to everything and he never seemed to get angry or upset or annoyed or frustrated, was somebody who spent his whole life living in one little village in the north of Scotland. He was one of my friends when I went to school. And he was one of the most calm, relaxed people I ever met. And not calm and relaxed because he smoked marijuana or something like that. He was just naturally not stressed by the world around him. I'm not sure why he was like that. Maybe part of that was because he was brought up by his mother, and he lost his father, and it was quite a difficult experience for his family, and maybe that experience caused him to view the world in a different way. But I always admired the way that I would be stressed by something and he would be not at all. And he seemed to know and understand more about the world than people I know who had traveled the whole world, been everywhere, seen everything, and they still didn't seem to understand as much as he did, who had never been anywhere. So you don't need to travel to have experiences. Um, I think you really just need to be where you are, to understand that experimentation is okay, but that's for someone who doesn't know who they are. And when you already know who you are, you can quite confidently say, "Thank you. I appreciate that. You've invited me. Thank you. I really respect that. Unfortunately, it's just not me. I know that I don't need to go there." Um, Trying to think of something that somebody might offer me that I don't want. That's not alcohol. um, uh, um, Say somebody invites me to an all night techno party or something, and I really respect the fact that they invite me, that they thought of me, that they'd like me to go with them, they think it would be fun, they want me to be part of it. I really respect all of that. It's just not for me at the moment. Another time perhaps. It's okay. Thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate it. So you don't have to do everything. And people sometimes feel they have to do everything and be everywhere. You can still say to people, "Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I can't go at the moment." Right? Um, Sort of, if it's meant to be, it will be. So those who need to experiment are those who haven't found themselves yet. It's nice that you need to do that. It's nice that you need to try that. Respect that. That's cool. No pressure. No pressure. Don't feel any pressure. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to pass at this one. Just going to let it go. And eventually, people, if they're cool, they'll get it. They'll understand. If they're your friends, they'll understand when to ask you and when not to ask you. They'll respect your space. They'll respect. Somebody who doesn't understand might say, "Oh, you never come with us. You never go here with this. You never do that with that." Well, yeah. Well, remember they're not talking about you. No one's ever talking about you. They're always talking about themselves, right? So when they say you're not there, what they're saying is I am there, right? It's not about you. You never come with us. Stop talking to me about you. What do you mean? You don't get it, do you? Yeah. You will be there, right? You'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. Cool. No pressure. You don't need me. Right? No pressure. Let it go. Just let it go. Um, it's 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 understandable to feel some pressure, like when I had a big group of friends about 10 years ago in this town, and there would be something happening there was something happening every night. There was a party or some event every night, and mm, mm, you have to You can't do everything and be everything to everyone and be everywhere. It's like when I described about the exercise at the beginning of our conversation, right? What's the very first thing I do each day? Who do I put first? Me. You selfish bastard. You put yourself first. Yeah, I put myself first so that I can then put everyone else first. But what, if I don't get a good night's sleep and I wake up and I don't feel that good and I arrive at work and I'm not happy and I'm frustrated and I'm depressed, how can I help anybody? How is that useful? It's not. So let me take a little bit of time, put myself first, and then then I can help some other people. So you get to see what happens over a period of time. I think good friends will respect you when you put yourself first in that situation. I mean, it's not really a good person who would be unhappy with you if you said, "Look, I can't really go to the party because first I've got a test the next day. I got to get up early for the test. Um, I want to be at home. I want to do a bit of studying. I want to chill out. Thank you for the invitation. Always thank people when you decline an invitation. Yeah, it's that way you are going through the experience of gratefulness, of gratitude, and you, there's no negativity in that principle. So you say thanks very much for the invitation. I respect that. I have a few other things happening. Um, can't do it right now. Another time, perhaps. And you're not going to be happy doing something that you don't want to do in that context. Um, there are situations where people go out and they have more fun than they thought they would have, but you have something the next day, so um, that's important. Okay, the question is, how do I make the right decision? The right decision is which choice is preparing me for a better future? That's the question you ask yourself. I have this choice, and this choice. Which one of these is doing something today to make tomorrow and the future brighter and better for myself? Well, that's obviously preparing for the exam. There will always be other parties. The sad thing is there'll always be other exams as well. But uh, uh, mm, we can have our playtime, but it doesn't have to be destructive, right? If someone said to you, let me give you another example, which is probably not going to happen, and then you'll get the point, which is someone says to you, hey, I've got an hour free tomorrow evening. Do you want to go and play a game of badminton or something? You would probably be like, yeah, I could do the badminton and I could probably come, I could still, spend an hour with my boyfriend and then come home and do some studying. And Well, right? I mean, you you look at what is productive. The reason why you don't want to go to a party is because you know that it's not productive. That's the reason why you don't want to go. You don't there's this complex emotional state where you feel tied or connected to other people, but that's just a mask. For the real reason that you don't want to go is that you know that nothing constructive is going to come out of it. Even if you have a little bit of fun there and have some few interesting conversations, there will still be alcohol, there'll still be loud music, you'll still be tired when you come back, and it's just not constructive. So we generally should not do things which are not going to be constructive for us. Says me, who did things not really constructive for about 10 years. That's it's hard learned experience. The wrong reasons. There's the right reasons for doing things and the wrong reasons for doing things. You have to find questions that you can ask yourself, simple questions. Like, which thing is the constructive thing? You can't do everything all the time. Something that you said there doesn't make sense, which is that you don't want to insult your friends. If these people are insulted, they're not your friends. You're worrying about something which is not even real. Because friends will go, okay, next time, no problem. There is some truth in the fact that more time with your partner is less time with your friends. If we remember that and we are aware of that, it's okay. It's okay to do that. If we forget about that, if we spend all our time with a partner and no time with our friends, that's that's complicated, because if we have a partner, we shouldn't let it isolate us from the other relationships that are around about us. And what happens in a lot of situations is that the two people involved in the relationship kind of disappear from the worlds of their friends, because they naturally want to spend time together themselves with their and getting to know each other. This can be hard for the circle of friends. Yeah. At this point, let's get away from physical age and think about mental age. Right? He's older. You get on well with him, and you get on well with his friends. That's because mentally you're older. Okay? You think maybe that he will have a problem communicating with your friends, because your friends are mentally younger and he's mentally older. Right? So it's got nothing to do with physical age and everything to do with mental age then.